expand our minds, and make us all think. How is everybody doing this wonderful, fine morning? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Like I am, I've been up bright and early. We've been having an amazing meditation morning, and now we're just ready to rock out this system. So, welcome, beautiful souls. Today we begin a 5-day journey that will completely transform how you understand reality itself. What I'm about to share with you isn't just theory or philosophy. This is the deepest truth about the nature of existence. And it's confirmed by both ancient wisdom and cutting edge quantum physics. See, over these 5 days, we will answer most profound questions a conscious being can ask. Can we truly escape the simulation? And more importantly, what is the simulation and what does escape really mean? I want you to know something. Before we begin, everything you've been taught about reality is backwards, okay? You've been told that the physical world is solid and real, and that consciousness is just something your brain produces. The truth is the exact opposite. You see, consciousness is primary matter, and in its primary, its matter is not the illusion, and you, the real you, are not trapped in reality. You are reality, experiencing itself through the lens of apparent limitations. You gave yourself those limitations. And now, are you ready to see how deep this goes? So let's begin. Part one. Let's get into this. You guys ready? How you guys doing this morning? Glad that you're here. But let me start by sharing something. Something that will shake your understanding of everything. You see, modern quantum physics, they've proven already that, and I mean scientifically proven, okay, that physical matter doesn't exist the way you experience it. See, that truth about atoms, your body, this chair, this bed that I'm sitting on, the chair you're sitting on, or whatever it is you're sitting on, the ground beneath your feet, it all appears solid, right? Everything appears solid, right? But here's what science has discovered is atoms, which make up all physical matter, are 99.99% empty space. Now, let that sink in for a moment. Now, let me just put this into perspective. Now, if an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a grain of sand in the center of that, just a grain of sand. The electrons would be the tiny specks orbiting at the stadium walls, and everything in between, nothing, empty space, void. So when you touch a table, when you feel your own body, when you look at the world around you, 99.999% of what you're experiencing is nothing. Empty space. Just empty space. But it gets even stranger, okay? That tiny nucleus and those electrons, they're not actual things in the physical sense. Modern physics are discovered they are probability, waves, mathematical potential, not solid objects, energy, patterns, vibrations, and quantum fields. Information, organized data, consciousness, observation, manifesting only when consciousness observes them. The double-slit theory. Now let me tell you something about one of the most important experiments in the history of science. It's called the double-slit experiment, and it proves that consciousness creates reality. And here's what happens as science shoots electrons through the slit and observes the pattern, and they create on a screen behind the slit without observation when no one is watching. The electrons create an interference pattern, meaning they act like waves going through both slits simultaneously and interfering with themselves. But here's where it gets mind blowing. The moment you observe which slit the electrons goes through, the pattern changes suddenly. And electrons act like particles going through one slit or the other, creating two distinct lines. Huh. There's even those guys that took these lasers, red lasers, and placed them on the wall and just had them in the mirrored them out. And digits and codes and numbers started going through them. This isn't interpretation. This isn't philosophy. This is repeatable scientific fact. And what this means is physical reality is not a pre existing solid world that you observe. Reality is the consciousness collapsing infinite possibilities into specific experiments through the act of observation. You are not observing reality, you are creating it moment by moment through consciousness. And what is your consciousness doing? Think about it. What are you observing? Because this world that you see before you, we got no complaint because you got to go look in the mirror. Now, I'm going to share with you something that leading physicists have discovered about the structure of reality itself. It's called the holographic universe theory, and it explains exactly the simulation works. What is this hologram? Well, first, let's understand what hologram is. A hologram is a two-dimensional surface that's coated it with information, and when shine light through it, it creates a three-dimensional image, which is what you're existing in. Nothing more than a three-dimensional image. And the image appears solid and real, but it's actually a projection of light and information. I mean, put that into some perspective. Here's what makes holograms special. Every piece of a hologram contains information about the whole image. So even for every breath that you take, you are breathing in consciousness. Therefore, you're breathing in the digital codes and exhaling the digital codes. And if you cut a hologram in half, each half still contains the complete picture, just with less resolution. See, your reality works the same way. Scientists like David Bohm and Leonard Susskind and others have proposed with mathematical proof that our three-dimensional reality is a holographic projection from two-dimensional information surfaces. You see, the evidence comes from studying black holes. And when the physicists calculated how much information a black hole can contain, they discovered something shocking. The information content is proportional to the surface area of the black hole, not its volume. And this shouldn't be possible if three-dimensional space is fundamental. It suggests that what appears three-dimensional space is actually two-dimensional boundary, just like a hologram. Further mathematical work called ADS and CFT corresponds, provided that volume space can be completely described by information on its boundary. So what does this mean? What do you think this means for us? So your entire experience is reality, is that everything you see, touch, and hear and feel is a holographic projection. Your consciousness is light shining through the quantum field, is a two-dimensional surface containing all information. So the three-dimensional world you experience is the projection. And every piece of the hologram, every being contains the whole pattern. So let, let's repeat that. You contain the entire universe and within your consciousness. Good morning. How's it going? See, you are the whole thing. You're the whole thing experiencing itself as a particle perspective. That is what the ancient mystics meant when they said, as above, so below, as within, so without. They knew thousands of years ago what quantum physics is now proving today. Hanging in there as we all are. There you go. This is what the ancient mystics meant. You know, what's out is in, what's external is internal. Physical reality is literally an illusion, a convincing projection, like those games that the Oculus games. The real reality, the information consciousness creating the projection. So what are we creating? And here's the profound implication. You are not in the hologram. You are the consciousness projecting it. Wait, what? I'm responsible? Yeah, let's take some responsibility. Yeah, we are. Every time we deal with our rejection and we react to that, every time we don't feel loved, every time we allow our trauma to win its cycle, every time fear wins, your belief and you change the projection. Your experience is reality. So we have to change our belief system, our perspective, how we're seeing it. Now I want to reveal something about breathing that will change how you experience every breath for the rest of your life. Are you ready? What you think is breathing, okay? What you think is breathing. You've been taught that your breath, oxygen from the air, your lungs, transfer it to your blood. Your cells use it for energy. You exhale carbon dioxide. This is a basic biology, right? But let me tell you something. But let me ask you something. Have you ever held your breath? And when you hold your breath, your heart continues breathing, beating, boom, 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 for 4 minutes or more. Your heart keeps pumping, your brain keeps functioning. Free divers can hold their breath for 10 minutes or more with training. Some yogis reportedly go hours or even days with minimal breathing. If oxygen is so critical, how is it possible? See, the real life force, prana, ancient traditions worldwide describe something beyond physical air. They have many names for it. Prana in Hindu and yoga traditions, life force energy, not physical breath. Qi or Qi is Chinese traditions, vital energy flowing through meridians. Pneuma in Greek, spirit, breath, life, force, all the same words. Rashi in Hebrew, spirit, wind, breath, all the same words. Mana in Polynesian, tradition, spiritual energy and power. Orgone, according to Wilhelm Reich, life energy he measured scientifically. Your oxygen is consciousness itself. Every time you breathe in and exhale, you're inhaling consciousness. You are inhaling you. That means you have everything within you. Everything. Every single detail that this world has in existence, you already hold those answers and keys. You. See, Wilhelm Reich was a scientist in the early 1900s who actually measured the life force energy with specialized equipment. He demonstrated its effects on weather, plant growth, and healing. He built Oregon accumulators that concentrated this energy. And you know what happened to him? He was persecuted, imprisoned, and this research was literally burned by the FDA. His books were banned and destroyed. Why? Because proving the life force energy exists destroys the entire materialistic paradigm that keeps people trapped in this limitations. Unified field, the one breath. Remember when I told you that 99.999% of empty space? Well, quantum field theory tells us that this empty space isn't actually empty. It's filled with quantum fields that permeate all space. These fields are vibrations with infinite energy. It's called 0 point energy. Everything, and I mean everything, is connected through the unified quantum field. See, the mystics knew this thousands of years ago. They called it different names: the Akashic field, the Tao, the Brahman, the one, source, consciousness. Consciousness, hence why we're unconscious when we don't breathe. Aha, 100%. 100%. What it actually is, pure consciousness, existing as infinite potential. It contains all information and possibilities. And it's not separate from you. You are it. Localized as your individual awareness. So what breathing is? What really is it? Well, so when you breathe, you are not just taking in separate oxygen molecules. You are drawing in consciousness itself from the unifield. You are connecting your localized awareness to the infinite field. And you are remembering momentarily that you are not separate. The air you breathe is not separate atoms floating independently. It is quantum field vibrating at frequencies that create that appearance of gas molecules. See, consciousness itself vibrating at the frequencies of atmosphere. The unified field expressing as breathing, breathable medium. You're experiencing yourself as separate from the field, taking in what is already you. Huh. Now, ain't that crazy? See, this is why spiritual traditions emphasize breath. Because breathing is the correct direct connection to unfilled field. It happens at the boundaries between consciousness and unconscious control. And it's the physical symbol of consciousness entering and leaving form. And when you breathe consciously, you are participating in the rhythm of the one consciousness breathing itself. So let's do this right now. Take a deep breath. Feel that. That's not air. That's one consciousness itself. That one breath in its fullness, that's you connecting to the infinite fields that you are. Now let me breathe. Let's breathe this. Let's just go in that consciousness and let's bring all this together and show you that the simulation actually is. You see, there are several reasons why leading physicists and philosophers seriously propose that we're living in a simulation. And the first is the fine-tuned universe, is the physical constant of this universe. Things like strength of gravity, the mass of electrons, the speed of light are precisely calibrated for life to exist. If any of these constants were even slightly different, stars couldn't form, plants couldn't exist, and life would be impossible. And this suggests intentional design, like codes that had been optimized for a specific outcome, mathematical codes. Reality updates only when observed. Just like a video game renders only what your screen shows you, the smallest unit of space, Planck length and time, Planck's time. Just like pixels and frames, rates, particles exist superposition, multiple possibilities simultaneously, like data in memory because it's loaded onto a screen. You see, the universe operates on a precise mathematical laws. Mathematics is the language of programming. Physics laws are like operating systems. Natural phenomena follow algorithms. I mean, the measurement problem. Reality doesn't exist in definite form until measured. And this is exactly how a video game works, right? Rendering what's being observed, leaving everything else as a potential in the background. Crazy. But here's where I need to tell you something very crucial. This isn't a digital simulation created by advanced aliens or future humans. Take a deep breath. This consciousness simulation, this computer running this simulation is consciousness itself. The programmer is a unified field of awareness. What are we being aware of? And you are both player and the game designer who forgot you wrote this code. Think about it. The double-slit experiment, observer creates reality. In the holographic universe, all of space is a projection of information and consciousness. In quantum field theory, everything emerges from a unified field of potential. So let's unify on the same thing here, people. No more prison system. The experience of separation. You wanted to feel separate. The experience of limitations, the experience of being small, finite, being a vast, uncaring universe. The experience of birth and death, suffering and joy, and seeking and finding. Why? For the same reasons you might play a video game or watch a movie. For the experience itself, infinite consciousness, which has no limitations. It creates the simulation to experience what limitation feels like. You see, to experience relationship, growth, discovery, love, challenge, triumph. You're not a character trapped in someone else's simulation. You are consciousness itself, creating this experience. The simulation exists because you, as infinite awareness, are dreaming into it, being. This prison, it's not real walls or bars. The prison is forgetting what you are. The prison is believing you are the character in the simulation instead of recognizing you are the consciousness creating and observing it at all. This is what the mystics have been trying to tell us for thousands of years. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Tat Devanasi. Thou art that. I and the Father are one. You are the light of the world. You weren't being metaphorical. They were speaking literal truth. Let's take a moment to integrate what you've explored today. You've learned that physical matter is 99.99% empty space and a projection, of quantum field vibrating into apparent form. And you've learned that consciousness, that observation creates reality, and the consciousness collapses infinite potential into a specific experience. a projection from a deeper information field. What's your information? You've discovered that breath is not just air, but connection to unfield field of consciousness itself. And you've seen that the simulation is not a trap by someone else. It's consciousness experiencing itself through the lens of apparent limitations. Between now and tomorrow, it's teaching. I want you to practice something for me. Throughout your day, pause multiple times and take 3 conscious breaths. And as you breathe, remember what you learned today. This isn't just air. This is consciousness itself. You are not taking something in from outside. You are connecting to the infinite field that you are. And look at the physical. Is it off now? Well, make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. Brings you one step closer. Make sure you recognize you're valuable and you matter, and you're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. Hang in there. Hopefully that fixed itself. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. Peace.